JDs and Littlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Pokemon Fire Red Leaf Green Speedrun Letter Challenge. I'm your host Zeej, and today we're going to be figuring out how quickly all the Pokemon starting with letter I can beat the game. So the first things first, obviously we do the same thing every single time. We figure out our naming convention. So we had to start something with an I, and something that, I read all the time, pretty frequently, is the Iliad. And because personally going into this, knowing and doing a little bit of research about how many Pokemon start with letter I, hint, it's only one, and it's Ivysaur, I feel like it's going to be quite a long tail. Now that we have our coach named Iliad, who is going to be the player? Ivysaur is going to be the player, but what's the name that we're going to use? In this case, I think it's going to be pretty on the nose to call him Icarus. Icarus flew a little too close to the sun and got burnt, figuratively. His wax melted technically, but Ivysaur also has the problem where if he is a little too close to fire types for too long, he's also going to get burnt and lose and die. So let's quick go over the rules so we can get them out of the way, because not really many actually apply in this run, because Ivysaur is the only Pokemon that starts with the letter I. Rule number 1 is that I can only use Pokemon with names starting with the challenge letter I. 2, I can use rare candies to level up the current gym's ace level. Not applicable because I only have one Pokemon. 3, I'm not allowed to sell items other than gold only, aka like nuggets. 4 is I need to catch a Pokemon from each evolution line. That's not a problem, I only have Ivysaur. 5 is no items in battle and play on set mode. And then 6 is no saving in between Elite 4 members, so I get a pure run. Moving on, my thought process is going into this, my strategy at least, is we're going to need a grass move that's really good, has some decent PP to it. We're going to keep Sleep Powder, we're going to keep Leech Seed, and then we're going to have some other move that lets us get past things like Lance, things like Agatha. It helps us out with the champion because there's so much diversity in that fight, which is a lot of criteria in what this move would need to cover in reality. So it's putting a lot of weight on this. And when you observe Ivysaur's TM list, when you observe his learn set, it's not advantageous to the Elite Four nearly whatsoever. You don't end up learning any valuable grass moves, really, with the exception of the only one we're going to use, which ends up being Razor Leaf. Razor Leaf he learns relatively early, as well as it has a high critical hit ratio, and it's the only one that has a reasonable amount of PP, so we don't have to consistently go back every 5 Pokemon for Giga Drain, or every 10 Pokemon for Vine Whip, or something like that. So Razor Leaf is going to be our grass designated move. Getting back to the topic at hand, which is this mysterious 4th move that I'm talking about, and how it's going to be essentially a random chance. We have a potential of maybe 3 or 4 out of 17 chance to really get something that's valuable to us. Why is it random chance? Why am I saying this? Why do I know 17 is the number that we're looking at? For any keen observers, the number 17 stands for the amount of types in the game, with the advent of Fairy type being the 18th. Why does this matter? Why am I saying it's a 3 or 4 random chance? Because what we're likely going to be relying on is, drumroll please, Hidden Power. Hidden Power changes type with the different amount of stats the Pokemon has. Now, I tried to back calculate, I tried to use different calculators based on what my basic stats were at the start of the game versus what my stats are now. I couldn't get a clear-cut value, and that means I don't know exactly what my hidden power typing is going to be. That being said, I don't really want to restart unless it's absolutely mandatory, so we're going to just run with it and see if we can get a decent one that's going to help us. Ideally, we could get something like Dragon or Ice, or I don't know, even like maybe a Psychic would help. Psychic isn't really weak to anything in the Elite Four, I don't think, and would be strong against Agatha, where Grass would be weak. I don't really know. So I think that's about 3 types that I'm looking at. that I think would be valuable here. Nonetheless, we're not even there yet. Let's move on to Brock. Brock obviously is going to be a cakewalk because we are grass type, we have Vine Whip, and we are 4x effective against Brock. So we actually end up taking one of the top times against Brock as well. So moving from Brock to Misty, I'm assuming a very similar thing is going to happen because at this point we're level 23 and we know Razor Leaf. Razor Leaf is effectively the best grass move in the game. They kind of fucked over grass Pokemon in Gen 3, like there's no good grass moves. The only thing that's really good is Leaf Blade, and it's kind of just alright. And that's only for Sceptile and in Hoenn, so it's definitely not here. I'm actually going to show the rival here because typically when you do these solo runs with Pokemon, they get stuck at very specific spots. As the Charmander begins to evolve more and more into the Charmeleon and the Charizard, we're going to be taking probably more and more damage. And then as we go from Abra to Kadabra to Alakazam, similarly with Pidgey to Pidgeotto to Pidgeot, all of these people are going to do super effective damage against us. The strat for this fight is just Sleep and Seed. Now, Bulbasaur had a very similar strat to this, which we are essentially copying, but the difference is we are much more bulky and can do a lot more damage, so we are not struggling nearly as much as we did with the letter B. And now that we have Razor Leaf, the rest of them just fall like dominoes. And what I'm going to do here is show you that I'm going to buy a bunch of Pokeballs, because I don't know if anybody knows, but how do you get Hidden Power? At first, I thought it was going to be you have to lure the trainer out above Cerulean City before you get cut, and then you walk in behind him and pick it up. That is not Hidden Power. That is Secret Power. Secret Power is a little bit different than Hidden Power. So what you have to do for Hidden Power is actually kind of ridiculous. You have to pick it up using the ability Pickup. And who knows the ability Pickup? It's Meowth. So what I'm going to do is catch 5 Meowths, keep them in my team, and consistently battle and just go through the entirety of the game until one of them picks up the TM for Hidden Power. From there, we will be able to determine what our Hidden Power typing is going to be and if we can really advance. If it ends up being Grass type, like, we're going to have a huge issue. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, why do you need 5? Well, if one Meowth has Pickup, isn't that enough? Probably not, to be entirely honest. The ability Pickup allows you to pick up items, but only at a 10% chance after every battle. So we have a 10% chance to pick it up. Then, from that 10% chance to even get an item, we only have a 5% chance for it to be our TM Hidden Power that we need. So as you can see, I'm picking up Oranberry, Nuggets, Cherry Berry. You can pick up a lot of different things, but mostly it's going to consist of these common berries. Moving on to the next rival fight. Again, very similar strat is going to be Sleep and Seed. Although we don't have to Sleep and Seed for Pidgeotto and Kadabra. Kadabra was kind of going to be expected. We're just going to Razor Leaf away. The Tackle Razor Leaf combo, I was surprised Razor Leaf did that much, even though we're 15 levels, 16 levels ahead. Charmeleon, we end up sleeping and seeding. It's just, his embers are starting to scale at the same rate that we are also scaling, so that could be very dangerous moving forward. As far as what we're doing next after the SSN, we go straight to the Electric Lock puzzle, the Zeege favorite. If you know me, you know that I love random chance, true random chance, because I get it every single time. I don't even spend more than maybe 15 in-game minutes or 10 in-game minutes trying to find the correct combination. I have limited options. Now, I was blessed in a single video to get one of these immediately. Again, immediately being within like the first 5 tries. This is like, I go through every single can almost 3-4 times per attempt. It is truly insane, and I love it, which is why you just got to show it every single time. Because I don't think that, I swear to God, there's nothing like it. Like, look at how long this is taking me. I'm just trying to get into position to maximize the efficiency with how many cans I can click as fast as I possibly can. So I try and get in those middle lines and I go up, click, down, click, up, click, down, click, up, click, down, click. And finally, I'm able to get it. Going to actually fight Surge is not a problem. At level 36, Surge does not stand a chance. And Razor Leaf just starts one-shotting everybody. The Voltorb, the Pikachu, the Ooh, okay. Looks like Raichu was a two-shot. Either way, we take him down pretty easy. So we move on to the Meowths. They have a bunch of items. I just wanted to show that. I ended up picking up the TM right there. And now that I have Hidden Power, I'm going to start using it against different grunts. So an example there was I used it against a Zubat and it was super effective. But I'm going to need a bigger sample size because that could mean Ice, Electric, or Psychic, all of which I like. But I used it against an Ekans and it wasn't super effective. I used it against Sandshrew and it was weak. It was not very effective. So now that's got me thinking. So it's nothing to poison. It's strong against poison flying. It's weak against ground. I'm postulating here. I'm thinking real hard. Is it rock? Is it actually rock? I'm gonna try it on these fire types, and this is a fire type double battle to the left of Celadon, actually where you get the HM for fly. Using Hidden Power on the fire types also is super effective, which kind of just drives home the point that this is indeed rock type. Before we comment on this, let's jump into Erica. Erica was not too much of an issue. Again, if it was rock type, then we would not be doing any super effective or weak damage to these grass types, which we are not. So that is also another confirmation sign. But Erica actually gets us down. They have acid. Acid and paralysis is pretty good into us because our Razor Leaf is not going to do anything. So we're kind of forced to use our Hidden Power. Nonetheless, is rock type Hidden Power good for us? Looking back, rock type Hidden Power can be super effective against ice types. Rock type Hidden Power can be super effective against the Golbat and Agatha. Rock type is super effective against the majority of Lance because he is majority flying type. And we have good synergy with rock type into the champion, which means rock type was inadvertently probably the best typing that we could have gotten, and I didn't even think about it. That was not on my radar at all. So this could be a generational run, actually. Yeah, it just didn't click because rock type would be quad effective to the Charizard, 2x effective to Gyarados, 2x effective to Pidgeot, and then we could clean up the rest with Razor Leafs and Sleep and Leech. I don't know, the run is kind of shaping up pretty well. I like where this is going. What we're on now is the next rival fight in Pokemon Tower. That rival fight went down pretty easy. I didn't really see any problems there. We one-shot the Pidgeotto with Hidden Power. We don't get the one-shot on the Execute, which is perfectly fine because nothing really ends up happening from it. We one-shot Kadabra with the Razor Leaf as we did last time. Charmeleon, we just Hidden Power, and because it's now super effective, we get the one-shot. Hidden Power also super effective against Gyarados, but not a one-shot, which drives us to Koga while we run down kind of that dock area. And Koga shouldn't be a problem. I mean, maybe the Muck is an issue. Muck is typically some type of issue because it's a physically and especially defensive wall. But the Sleep and Leech tech, as long as we can heal enough back and then kind of just focus on the Hidden Powers after that, we should be okay. The Sludges and Minimizes are kind of doing pretty good work against me right now. I don't want to admit to that, but we miss a few moves. We end up getting a Hyper Potion used on Muck, which is not really advantageous for us, considering, again, his Sludge is generally hitting for 2 to 3x what our Leech Seed recovery can heal back. We end up getting the win over Muck eventually, and we get it in good health because we get pretty lucky when he does go to sleep. We do get 2 to 4 sleep turns, which is a very good number for us. But now we're getting smoke screens from coughing, and hopefully Wheezing doesn't do something stupid like self-destruct or kill us with a bad crit or something like that. And why do I open up my mouth? Because that just happened. Because we're down to 5 life and we're really struggling here, and I hope that he stays asleep for just long enough, and he does. Whew, okay, that was way closer than I thought it was going to be for Koga. Holy shit. Jumping over to Blaine. Now you might be thinking, this is stupid. Why the fuck are you attacking Blaine? Well, because we have super effective hidden power, I figured why not give it a shot. Let's see how much we do. Level 64 versus 47 on Arcanine. That's who I was really concerned about. Obviously, he's the ace. He's the strongest Pokemon in the bunch. And with 2 Fire Blasts, we are burnt to a fucking crisp and kick the shit out of there. See you later. So we're gonna have to circumvent that for a little while, and in the meantime, we're actually going to go do the 5th rival fight in Silphco. We have now since gained a bunch of levels because we battled just about every trainer in Silphco. So we one-shot the Pidgeot, which is a great sign. We end up having to 2-shot the Execute, but that's still a great sign. We end up using Hidden Power on Alakazam, surprise surprise, one-shot. The Charizard one-shot is what I was most worried about, and the Gyarados is going to be a 2-shot, but he doesn't know flying moves. And after this we actually evolve, but we stop it. What are the ethics on that? Do we think it's bad? Does it hurt the Pokemon if they begin transforming into something else and then we have to force to stop it? I don't know. I don't know if I like to think about it, to be entirely honest. In the meantime, you'll see in the background that we are just slaughtering Sabrina because they have physically frail psychic types, and that's their kryptonite, so I say it every single time. It's just that psychic types needed a weakness. Now that we're level 70, after doing all of that and killing all of those different Pokemon, we end up going to fight Blaine again, and we don't one-shot this Rapidash. I don't know if we're getting bad rolls or something. Yeah, we just cannot one-shot it for the life of us. Which, on the other hand, we do end up one-shotting the Arcanine, which is very unexpected. If we don't one-shot the Rapidash, I was not expecting to one-shot the Arcanine. Jumping to Giovanni, immediately after Blaine, there is no problem. Our Razor Leaf is taking care of everything that needs to take care of. One-shots for any Rhyhorn, one-shot for any Diglett, 2-shot for Nidoking and Nidoqueen because they're just bulkier, and that's how it is. But really, no problem, no chance of death. I mean, I guess technically the Earthquakes are doing some decent damage, but yeah, all in all, it doesn't add up nearly enough. I don't even have to sleep and seed any of them. Which brings us to our 6th rival fight right before Victory Road and the Elite Four. Our Hidden Power no longer one-shots Pidgeot at level 73 versus their 47, so that's a horrible sign. It no longer one-shots the Alakazam. It still one-shots Charizard, which is fantastic because that, again, is probably going to be our biggest obstacle or hurdle if we can't one-shot him. We try and go for a 2-shot and Execute, but it looks like they only have Solar Beam as an attacking move, which does, what, maybe 10 damage to us, so kind of a waste of time. Similarly with Gyarados, we don't one-shot, but he knows Hydro Pump, like, only, I guess? I don't know, I thought he knew Bite and Thrash, but he opted for Hydro Pump, which is a very strange thing to do from my perspective. We're just gonna skirt on through Victory Road and head straight to Lorelei, because this is where the game gets a little interesting. So we're gonna keep our main 4, Hidden Power, Razor Leaf, and then Sleep and Seed. So we Sleep and then Hidden Power the Dugong, 2-shot, looks pretty good. Slowbro doesn't have an ice typing, so we're gonna try and Razor Leaf him down. He uses Amnesia. Amnesia is a big problem for us, but luckily we get one of those crits and we break through and we kill the Slowbro. The issue is we're now asleep because he yawned. So what do we do in this situation? I think we're gonna have to Sleep Seed Lapras and probably try and whip out a few, maybe Razor Leaves, but in the end it doesn't really matter because Lapras just uses Ice Beam and we're cooked. And now that we get a reset here, I think the right thing to do is that we should keep going with this path. Not until we're successful, but maybe until we don't see any more progress. So we're gonna gain levels, but also at the same time, if we stop progressing through even just Lorelei, then I think we should start changing up some of the moves or some of our strategy here. In this case, we actually get through Dugong and Slowbro, and we realize that Now, despite the hail damage, we're going to die. But Lapras is theoretically going to be a 2-shot going forward with Razor Leaf. As long as we get some better luck with our sleep turns and accuracy, we should be able to get through Lorelei. I don't really see an issue with this right now. I mean, Razor Leaf and Hidden Power should be able to take care of Dugong, Lapras, Slowbro. Even Jinx would probably do pretty well. She only knows Ice Punch, so if we can get there with decent health and put her to sleep first, she should be out with the Hidden Power. As far as Cloyster, his special defense is so weak that should also just not be a problem. As I stated, if we get some better sleep luck, which we have right now, even though we got hit with a single Ice Beam, we are still in the green. So Lapras, luckily, again, 2-shot like we prayed. Jinx gets put to sleep first, which is great. Hidden Power 1-shot, physical defense is extremely low. Cloyster, I tried the super effective Hidden Power, didn't work like I, kind of expected in the back end, but I figured it was worth a shot. Razor Leaf takes him out, and Lorelei, we actually get a win here. So that's huge news for the Ivysaurs. Going into Bruno, the Onyxes shouldn't be a problem. That's pretty easily just Razor Leaf them down. As far as the fighting types, we're probably going to have to use some sleep again, and then rely on Razor Leaf and Seeds. I do want to see how much the Razor Leaf does, so we're looking at a little less than half for even the Hitmonchan, which is probably his weakest Pokemon. It kind of sucks like this, because I don't want him to use a full restore, so in this case, I think Hidden Power is warranted. So we just Hidden Power it, then we end up Razor Leafing again. Turned out to be a crit, so we didn't really need to use the Hidden Power. But nonetheless, it's really okay. So we sleep him and then Seed Hitmonlee. Now, his damaging moves like these Mega Kicks are doing quite a number on us, and I don't think we're going to be able to get out of this one alive. I hate to say it, but if he sleeps long enough, we have a shot. We have a real shot. So I'm kind of biding my time between his sleep turns and re-upping on the sleep powder and using Razor Leafs to try and get him down. Luckily, we get a turn off. Oh, I lied. Somehow, this Onix is faster than us, even while we are at level 77. That's good to know, but that also sucks. Machamp goes to sleep for a single turn and wakes up. That's just horrible. This is maybe the worst thing I've ever seen. And then hits with 2 cross chops. That is an 80% accurate move that I've only seen hit like 3 times. Bruno really put it in the back of our throats right there. That's horrible. Nonetheless, after that beating, we're back like a bad habit, and we don't know how to quit. So we are going to do the same thing. Lorelei, we're taking down semi-consistently now. I cut one attempt where we did fail at Lapras, but other than that, we have been pretty consistent, I would say, at this point. Now that we're 77, we can get some pretty good ranges with both our Hidden Power and our Razor Leaf. These ranges will help us either one-shot, which saves PP, or guaranteed 2/3 shots. Now, this could be an issue in the case of a 3-shot, because then we toe the line closer and closer to getting these full restores. But, that being said, we should be able to get our better ranges. So actually, Jinx ends up being a one-shot with the Hidden Power, and Cloyster with Razor Leaf is obviously going to be a one-shot now. I mean, special defense is really so bad for somebody with such high defense. Moving on to Bruno, we struggled last time, but I think if we sleep and seed a little bit better, more consistently, and now that we're 1 level higher, about to be 2 levels higher than we were last time, we should be able to get slightly better ranges. So even on the Hitmonchan, it looks like we do 50%, but we don't. So he ends up full restoring. Makes perfect sense. I get it. So the only thing we have to do now is Hidden Power first so we can get our better range so he doesn't full restore again. Not a problem whatsoever. Those Mega Kicks are really fucking us up, and I don't like it. So we need to stop those immediately. As far as the ranges go with Hitmonlee, looks like a Razor Leaf into a Hidden Power into a Razor Leaf is going to do the trick. He just needs to stay asleep for as long as we need him to, which thankfully he did. Machamp, hopefully we can get some misses on the cross chops. In the meantime, we have to sleep and seed him so we can get some recovery in case he does get off the cross chop and crits. He does scary face us, which could be a huge issue, but he hits the cross chop and it ends up being very weak, so thank you Machamp, I applaud you with both sets of your hands. Agatha could be an issue. because Gengar knows Double Team, and he likes to kind of toxic stall, and he likes to use Confuse and things of that sort. So we try and hit him with Sleep Powder 3 times, and we miss all 3 times, which is, you know, not the greatest start. And Gengar just keeps punching us right in our fucking mitt, and Jesus Christ, we just gotta get out of this round. We're hitting our powers, and then she full restores, and we have 5 life left. Alright, not the greatest showing, but if we get back there, let's hope that he doesn't double team first thing, and we can actually hit our Sleep Powder. So we have to restart all the way back in Lorelei, but we're gonna get a few more levels by the time we get up there. So let's see what we can do if we can make it pretty consistent. Dugong was not an issue. Slowbro gets 1 shot at this point. Lapras, we're gonna try and just pure Razor Leaf, see what happens. The Ice Beam doesn't do enough to us to really affect us because we didn't take any damage up to this point. Hidden Power we know is going to one-shot Jinx unless she has crazy random stats up to 31 IV defense at this point. Luckily she doesn't. And then we end up finishing off Cloyster, easy peasy. So for Bruno, we're just going to hope for a little bit of consistency. We've already beat him once. Onyx, we're obviously going to lead again with the Razor Leaf. There's no change there. For Hitmonchan, we're going to Sleep and then Seed and then see how much this Razor Leaf is going to do. Hopefully we get in the right range so we don't have to waste another Razor Leaf or 2 and they don't full restore. Oh, okay, they full restore, not the end of the world because the Leech Seed put us down into heal range, but we end up getting the full restore out of there and we kill him anyway. Moving on to Hitmonlee, we do the same exact thing, Sleep, Seed, Razor Leaf, and see if we're in heal range. Luckily we're not this time, and we get out alive. Onyx, super simple. Razor Leaf, dead, of course. Machamp wakes up first turn after getting put to sleep. I haven't seen that in quite a while, so that's kind of unlucky. Then he scary faces us, looking not great, and our Razor Leaf does less than half, so we try and hit him power to get him into the right range and waste that Citrus Berry. Turns out that somehow, by the graces of God, we ended up being put in the correct range after his Citrus Berry with that second Razor Leaf, and we make it through. Moving on to Agatha, we're going to want to do a Sleep Powder strat here for sure, as we've mentioned prior. So our Razor Leaf doesn't really do that much, believe it or not, which, I mean, obviously you would believe that. It's weak to Poison type, but our Hidden Power is doing pretty good work here, so we pump him full of Hidden Powers, Rock type, and we drop those sleeps whenever we can. Rock type super effective against Golbat because he's got that flying type. We Sleep Powder the Haunter that comes in third, very interesting strat, and then we end up 1 Razor Leaf and 1 Hidden Power takes him out. Pretty frail, so that wasn't too big of an issue. As far as the Ace Gengar, this could be a huge problem, but we Sleep and Seed, and then a Razor Leaf once. So we have that continuous sap, and we just gotta hope for good sleep turns. And, oh, that's fucking clutch! We hit the Hidden Power, and then the Seed sucked him dry, killed him on the same turn before he could even full restore. So that's fantastic. Arbok, we're getting some good sleep turns already, and he is more bulky, both, I guess, specially and physically, but it really isn't too much of an issue for us right now because we're getting such good sleep turns, and we seeded him. So we're getting that passive recovery, and we could just advance right after this because we almost ran out of PP for Hidden Power Rock, and then we did. And then we used Razor Leaf because it was already almost dead. Thankfully, we made it through without needing to go struggle or something. Oh my god. All right, on to Lance. New Frontiers. So Gyarados comes in first. Obviously, we all know that. We're going to Hidden Power Rock to see how much it does. It does about a third here. Okay, so we're in a good spot. And the full restore. Okay, that's not great. We're tanking his damage pretty well. They don't full restore the second time, so Gyarados goes down. We look, okay, that wing attack took a lot of damage. But we look to Sleep and Seed, and then Aerodactyl wakes up on the second turn, and then crushes our dreams. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Of course, that's how I wanted to go. All right, so we're pretty consistent up to about Agatha at this point, and I'm not gonna just do the same thing over and over and over again because it's not really any value. So I'm just gonna skip ahead. We're level 88 now. We're 8 levels higher than the last time, but we are back at Lance. Okay, so our Hidden Power Rock is going to do about half, or a little less than half. And then what we're going to do is Sleep Powder, and then Seed, and then re-sleep. So we're probably going to get a full restore here, as we accounted for.
Razor Leaf crit down to 1 HP and Leech Seed picked it up. Hell yeah. Razor Leaf crit the Aerodactyl after he got slept. Let's run it back. Oh my god.
Yo, Ivysaur, what your gun sound like?
Hung, 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 hung. It was already supposed to happen. When
Listen, nigga, I don't know what kind of gun that is.
For Dragonite, we absolutely want to stay true to our roots, so we're going to Sleep Seed first thing, absolutely. Then we HP Rock. The Citrus Berry doesn't go off, but he's below 50%, so I think we're just going to HP Rock and kill him? Okay, Citrus Berry went off, and Leech Seed didn't bring him down to kill him anymore. But he doesn't full restore, so we Razor Leaf? And we tank this Hyper Beam extremely easily. I don't know what is happening right now. The Outrage that Dragonair just let off was not a problem. He's doing like 25 damage. What is going on? Nonetheless, alright, well, let's just see how Razor Leaf goes, I guess, and then get some Leech Seed recovery. I mean, it just looks like Razor Leaf is going to whittle him down with Leech Seed, and then we're just going to win. Very interesting. I mean, we didn't get any wing attacks from Aerodactyl or Dragonite, which was nice to see, and we can move on to the champ now. Alright, first thing we're going to want to do for this Pidgeot is definitely put him to sleep, and then we can start ripping some HP rocks. Alright, looks like it's going to take a 2-shot HP rock to kill the Pidgeot. Definitely want to sleep the Alakazam. If we don't sleep the Alakazam, he can get a Future Sight or a Psychic off, then we're good. So we use Razor Leaf, gets him to 50%, he uses a Reflect, ends up not being a problem because Grass is Special type, so we just knock him out there. We put Charizard to sleep first turn, and then he gets absolutely melted even with Reflect up because the HP Rock is 4x effective. Moving on to Executor. This dude is always fucking nuisance, man, every single time. So what we do here is we put him to sleep, and we're going to hope for some really good sleep turns and try to crit to dodge this fucking range that we have going on here with our Razor Leaf, but we can't do it. So he just ends up continually full restoring. He flips the script on us, he puts us to sleep and fucking egg bombs us like it's goddamn Nagasaki in here. Then we flip the script on him, so he's put to sleep again, and then we start bombarding him with Razor Leaves, but he full restores again and again and again, and finally, okay, I thought we had it there, and we didn't. Okay, we put him to sleep again. How about this time? We have 2 Razor Leaves left, we have 3 Hidden Power Rocks, and it just looks like we're not going to be hitting this goddamn range. And we can't use Leech Seed because he's Grass type. Okay, thank God. We used all of our Razor Leaves on Executor, and now we're just gonna have to hopefully have him not wake up. Okay, that was his second to last Pokemon, and 1 Razor Leaf could have taken him out. And I think his last Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken, was Gyarados. He didn't come out. Hopefully 3 HP rocks would have taken care of that. Look at he fucking split. In our little anime we got going on, we're doing a little time skip here through our training arc that we just kept in the background, a little ship it in action. We had to go out and get more elixirs and ethers, so we kept our PP up because we kept using them to get to these spots in the first place. And again, this was our training arc. We kept making it to Lance and not progressing because of all the flying moves. Jumping right back into the champion, we are now level 97, but our strat's gonna be very, very similar to last time. We Sleep Powder, HP Rock. Actually, they use a full restore in this case, so I know also because that we're faster. We can just 2 HP Rock and kill it. Alakazam, we have to sleep again, and we actually crit on the Razor Leaf, which is pretty nice. I think we're gonna one-shot Charizard, and we do with HP Rock because that 4x effectiveness, and we are now almost 10 levels higher from the last time we made it here. Executor is a true 3-shot with Razor Leaf, so that's fantastic to see. Rhydon, as I expected from last time, 1-shot with Razor Leaf. I'm sure we could have done that at 88 as well. Gyarados, we're going to put to sleep. He tried to thrash, did some damage, but the sleep and seed strat plus the HP rocks on top, we're in a perfect range. There is nothing he could do at this point, and we actually end up winning the game. It's always so conflicting to see these times because I know that it could have been an hour here, an hour there, 30 in-game minutes here that can cut it back because I do have to play on fast forward. We end up at 20 hours and 22 minutes of in-game time, which considering everything is not bad whatsoever. The fact that he was able to make it through all of those very hard wall challenges such as Blaine. Blaine was a full stop. And if you look at the graph on the screen, eyes in the purple dots, it's pure plateau after badge 6.
6, 7, 8 all fall within maybe, what, 30 in-game minutes? And then the jump between Badge 8 and the champion is up there with E. It crosses all of the boundaries. It crosses every letter from being the near best time for Badge 8 to the worst time minus E and A. Like, what? How do I even rank that? It felt so good and it was so pure. I mean, it is a starter, so it has to have some level of feeling good to it, but I don't know, man. They just really showed grass no love, and especially in this generation, every grass type is a poison type, so there's no uniqueness. So that's kind of something that is unfortunate for this type and typing combination. Moving on to the ranking, I think this is pretty clear where it has to go. I mean, it's definitely better than E and A. It's definitely worse than something like D. You gotta go C tier. C tier is definitely the spot where something like this should absolutely go. It can tear up a section and then fall off a fucking cliff. Alright guys, that'll be it from me. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Zeej signing off.